Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited to have you here today because I'm going to show you some specific yoga exercises that you can do to start helping to stimulate your vagus nerve. Now, I just had a podcast that came out that is directly associated with how to stimulate your vagus nerve in the first place. So I'm not going to go into big depth here. You can listen to that podcast. But today I'm going to show you some specific yoga moves that you can do anywhere sitting in your chair. If you are busy or you're sitting at work a lot in a chair, or maybe you just are in a situation that it's not very easy to get down and dirty with getting your yoga mat out and getting into doing some exercises on that yoga mat. That's why I wanted to put this piece together for you so you can do this anywhere that you have a chair and anywhere that you have a few minutes just to move through some movements to get, number one, the body stretching, but also number two, the vagus nerve stimulated. So the vagus nerve starts at the brainstem and it runs all the way down into the stomach and the intestines. It helps to connect the heart and the lungs and the throat and the facial muscles. That's why any kind of stretching, especially some yoga poses that are going to directly emphasize some torso twisting, some throat and chest opening and closing, are going to be really helpful for you to stimulate that vagus nerve and help to improve your physical, mental, and emotional health. Let's dive in. So the first place that we're going to start is the neck. Now, when I put these exercises together to highlight today, I specifically thought about yoga movements, poses, chair stretching that you could do that's going to not only stimulate the vagus nerve, but also open up the muscles that often get really tight when you're sitting a lot for work or for your life, or depending on what your situation is, those muscles can get really tight in the shoulders, in the neck, in the hips, in the back. So these exercises today are specifically for you if you feel like those muscles get really tight in general, but also after listening to the podcast and you realize that you need to stimulate that vagus nerve a little bit more, these exercises are going to help you to do exactly that. So let's start with the neck. The first thing that you're going to do is just sit on the edge of your chair. And again, you can do these sitting down in your on top of your yoga mat. That's totally fine. But again, I'm just making this easy for you to do anywhere. The first thing I'm going to have you do is just take that hand and put it underneath one hip, or you can put it on the side of your chair, whatever feels like it's most comfortable for you and most doable. I will start with under the hip. Just very gently, we're going to take that opposite hand and bring it on the top of the outside of your head and very gently, just lightly pulling the neck off to the opposite side of your secured hand and just gently pressing a little bit of pressure there. And as you place that pressure right there on the side of your head, you might notice that there is some pulling coming down here into your neck, pulling down into the neck, coming down into the shoulder. And if you feel like you need just a little extra, as you pull onto the head, just very gently pull away from the secured hand. Release slightly and bring it back, repeating 5 times total. Holding each one for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, depending on what feels good for you. But the entire time breathing through it. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, inhale through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Releasing it back up. Let's do one more time for demonstration. Pulling the head off very gently to the side, Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. One more time, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And bringing it back to center. You will repeat this on the other side. So securing the hand, opposite hand is going to come on the outside of the head and just gently pulling off to the side, away from your secured hand, very gently. We don't want to overdo it here. We don't want to overstretch those muscles. And if it feels good for you, just leaning away from that secured hand to get that little extra stretch right there on the side of the neck. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. One more time. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And bringing it back to neutral. You'll continue on with the breathing technique until you finish all of the repetitions. The next one that we're going to do is the hip opener. So getting those hips to loosen up is going to help your back feel better. It's going to help your hips feel better, but it also helps to stimulate that vagus nerve. So simply lifting that leg up towards your chest, pulling the knee up, and then rotating the leg so that you're crossing that leg, that ankle, over the opposite leg. Placing it right on top of that thigh, but making sure you're not placing it onto the knee itself. We don't want any knee pain coming out of this. Now, each person's going to be very individual for this move, depending on your flexibility. If you're feeling extra tight, this may be just fine. This may feel like a stretch already, like it is really pulling and tugging and you don't need much more. You can stay right here. But if this feels like it is not quite enough or you want to go a little further, you can add a little pressure with your arm pressing that thigh, that inner thigh down. Again, making sure to not press on the knee itself, but pressing that thigh down. I love to add the other hand involvement to get like a little torquing motion on the hip. So I take my hand, bringing it underneath that ankle and just giving that a little press up as I press down with my opposite arm. Now, you can take it even further than this. So as you give that leg that appropriate pressure to stretch the hip, sitting up nice and tall with those abs pulled in, you can lean forward from the hips, dropping down towards the floor, so nose towards the floor, and giving just a little pressure right there as you're pressing. The more you lean into this, the deeper of a stretch out of that hip you're going to get. As always, if this feels a little too much for you, just don't go that far. You can take it to whatever level feels great for you. As always, as well, we are breathing through this. So I would suggest 5 breaths, slow and controlled. So inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 3 more. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. And release that back up. Let's change over to the other side. Now, I want to emphasize here as well that the breath is not just about calming you down or helping to provide a count. The breath is actually helping to stimulate the vagus nerve as well, because we are involving the throat. If you want to add even more stimulation, adding a hum to that breath will work as well. Let's practice that during this breath work. So getting yourself into your hip position, adding that little press or that pull, that little torquing motion of the hip, if that feels good for you, and even leaning into that to get the extra deep stretch out of that hip. Again, bring yourself into the position that's right for your body. As you get there, let's take it into the breath. We're going to add a hum this time to stimulate that vagus nerve even more. So inhale through the nose, exhale and hum out. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. 2 more times. Inhale. As we move into the next round, I'm going to show you a few pieces as we move up the body to stimulate the vagus nerve through the torso, our stomach and intestine area, through our chest, and through our throat, incorporating a few moves that you can do or may have seen in your chair yoga, or so a few moves that you may have seen to help open up tight muscles and to help you relieve a little bit of stress after sitting for long periods in a chair. All right, the first one that I want to emphasize is rolling like a ball in and out of position. So this is going to get a few things. We're going to stimulate from the back side and open up the muscles in the back. We're going to also stimulate and open up those muscles right here in the hip area and at the base of our torso. And we're going to add a little bit of a chest opener just to start the process. So we're opening the heart, we're expanding the heart and the lungs, and also stretching out the pectoral muscles that can get really tight from sitting too long. So let's start with the rolling into a ball. I like to start with hands up overhead. Belly is in nice and tight, sucking in the belly as you slowly round the back down, curling in and dropping as far down to the floor as you can to create that rounded spine, and stretch those muscles out. Slowly rolling back up, arms coming overhead, and as you lift, a slight little arch in the back, elevating and opening up that chest and the heart area. Closing it back down. So let's take the breath and add that in. Inhale and exhale as you drop and roll in. Inhale and exhale as you lift and open up, reversing it into that stretch. Let's add the breath with the hum. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And bringing it back down. I would recommend doing anywhere from 5 to 10 of those flow throughs to help stretch and to stimulate. You can add the hum if you would like, or you can just do the regular breathing. The next piece that we're going to come into is the chest and the shoulders and opening up those muscles, also stimulating the neck and the throat. So the first one is just a very standard head roll. So let's start with the head roll. Taking ear to one shoulder, rolling and dropping the chin to bring opposite ear to shoulder, and then back again. Dropping chin down to chest, rolling to the opposite side. Don't forget that breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let's do one more round. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. And bringing it back to neutral. Again, I recommend 5 to 10 rounds. We're going to take it into a heart opener. So hands come back behind the neck, bringing the arms back and flush with the rest of your body to start. We're going to start with taking it into a squeeze of the low back very gently as you open and pull the chest forward. You open and pull those elbows wide, pushing the chest forward. Inhale. And exhale as you close and bring elbows together, rounding the back, the low back just slightly. Inhale. And exhale as you open. Inhale. And exhale as you close. Inhale. Exhale as you open. One more round. Inhale. Exhale as you close. Inhale. Exhale and open. And bring it back to neutral. Again, recommending 5 to 10 rounds of that. The next one I want to move into is for the torso, the shoulders, and the heart as we move through a twist. Start with arms out to the side. We're going to lift the arms up. Inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to bring the arms down. Opposite hand can either drop onto the leg and just give it a little bit of a twist, a little pressure to get extra low back twisting, or it can stay elevated. That's totally up to you. Bringing those arms back up and dropping to the other side. Inhale and lift. Exhale and drop. Inhale, lift. Exhale and drop. Let's do one more on each side. Inhale and lift. Exhale and drop. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Now, I like to emphasize that low back, so bringing it into a nice static chair twist. Taking one hand, pressing on the outside of your thigh, taking the opposite hand and just grabbing a hold of that handle or the side of your chair, depending on what kind of chair you have, and just doing a nice light twist, looking gently over that opposite shoulder, taking it into the breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And I would suggest sitting here and holding this for about 5 slow and controlled breaths. Let's take one more breath. Inhale. And slowly release it. Let's change off to the other side. Again, bringing hand onto the outer part of your leg, using that opposite hand on the handle of the chair or on the side of the chair. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Trying to pull the tension out of the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. 2 more times. Inhale, belly push out. Exhale, belly pull in. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. There are so many stretches and yoga poses that you can do to help stimulate the vagus nerve. I love things like downward dog or bridging or any kind of twisting motions. I like warrior poses and just triangle and lots of different things that you are using to help twist and maneuver through. The exercises we did today are specifically those exercises you can do sitting in a chair, and that you can also couple with your busy day as you're sitting at your desk or sitting on the couch or doing whatever it is that you are doing in a seated position to help loosen up those muscles, stimulate the vagus nerve, and help to bring more solid physical health into your life. If you found this to be helpful and you really enjoyed learning about how to stimulate the vagus nerve and also some exercises to do for that, make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you get notified of my weekly YouTube videos.